Hello, BookTube. Today, I had a busy day. The day started out, I think it was 31 degrees Fahrenheit. And I had to be up early, and I had to scrape down the windows so I could drive. A beautiful day. It turned into a gorgeous day. Bright blue skies, fall foliage. Not at its peak. We're a little past that, but still just gorgeous. Had to run my daughter to a football game, had to work at the Historical Society's fall meeting where we had beautiful music, an Irish couple, and they were wonderful, and fiddle and a guitar. And then, but to start the day, I went to a library. I can't call it a book sale, because what it is this library near us has been able to use the armory in their town to hold their book sale and to store their book sale books. Now, we have nothing like that at my library, which is a problem. But this was their last time they're ever going to do it, which is sort of sad. And they've had multiple sales, and they just said, we don't want to have to dispose of these books. Please come down, bring as many boxes as you can, bags, whatever. Please take everything, because it's going to save them money from disposing of the books. These books have had many, many chances to be recycled, but just on a whim, I went down. I wouldn't miss something like this. Didn't expect to find much. Knew that most things had been picked over, but I did a little better than I thought. So I'm going to show you what I got. We didn't pay anything. They didn't have any, even a little till or even a donation bucket. So we've donated a lot to them in the past, and their friends of the library is doing quite well. But the book sales, sadly, thing of the past. We'll still have ours at our library, but it was a little smaller than what theirs was. So I'm going to miss it. But I dug around quite a bit. There was no time pressure, and did seem like they were getting a lot of them out of there, which is good for them. So I'll do them in no particular order. I've got so many. There's no Steve Pyramid at the end of this, and I certainly am going to be a little challenged with where I stack them when I'm done talking to you about them. So I'll also not probably be out in this little back room much longer once winter hits. It's a little chilly out here. So I'm going to start with Benet's Reader's Encyclopedia, but this one's Benet's Reader's Encyclopedia of American Literature. All right, now I have the regular Benet's. I don't know if it's, no, I have it inside the house. This one's a little more focused. This says the most comprehensive, in-depth encyclopedia of North and South American writings and writers, novelists, poets, playwrights, writers of nonfiction, essayists, critics, personages, places, and events alluded to in literature, literary groups and movements, newspapers, magazines, journals, and literary terms, edited by George Perkins, Barbara Perkins, and Philip Leininger. Now, I did a little experiment, not when I got this. The other day, if you saw my Instagram, I found an old paperback of Ben Ames Williams. And he was born in Mississippi, but he was really he left there as a very young boy and moved to Ohio. I don't even know if he remembered Mississippi. But he went to school at Dartmouth, which is right up the road here, and he settled in and became... He wrote all sorts of stuff, a lot of stuff for Saturday Evening Post, but his novels, the ones I know about mostly, are historical novels in New England. And I've always wanted to read some of his stuff, and I picked up one the other day. Well, when I went to the regular Benet's of world literature, he wasn't in there. He wouldn't, there's only have so much space. But he is in here, so this is a good supplement. So it's going to be focused enough so some people will make it in this one that did not make it in the other one. Very glad to have this. There'll be long entries on, Henry Miller, or Arthur Miller here, and then Henry Miller next. So it's an encyclopedia. It's what it says it is, and I like the other one. I've never had this one before. And again, I'm going by size a little bit here to start with, just so I can get organized. Then this is a Heritage Press volume. I'm filming on my phone for the first time in ages because my son just ate up the battery on the tablet. So hopefully this will work. I don't know what the sound will be like, but we'll find out. So this is Joseph Conrad, Nostromo. Does not have the slipcase, but that's fine. Let's see, 1961, which was a very good year indeed. There's little spot illustrations, which you'd expect with Heritage Press. Double columned. Yeah, you can see that. I'm noticing that using the camera small screen throws me a little bit. This wonderful artwork. So all throughout, and the artist is, hold on here. Let me see. Lima de Freitas. And I'll just show you in case well, not in case, because my pronunciation is going to have to be awful, at least a little bit. So, glad to have this. Let me see if I get some more larger one. Now, this one replaces a placeholder. This is Winston Spencer Churchill. The Last Lion, 1874 to 1932, Visions of Glory. I've read this more than once. It's going to be a little bit of glare there, but mine doesn't have a dust jacket. You can see this one obviously has Mylar. This is William Manchester. Wonderful biography. I absolutely, here's the end papers. Love this biography. I have a fairly substantial Winston Churchill collection. So this will replace the non-dust jacket copy I have, and my son will take that one because he's really getting into World War II. And Churchill was an important figure there. And then the next one here, I have volume 1, now I have volume 2. This is Bill Moyers, A World of Ideas. Let's see here, this came out, this is, well here, get my fingers to work. World of Ideas 2, Public Opinion from Private Citizens. Editor is Andy Tucker, Doubleday, and this came out 1990. It's Bill Moyers doing the interviews. So you have different sections. So imagining ourselves, Maxine Hung Kingston, Peter Sellers, and more. Imagining others, Sam Keane, Toni Morrison, and others. Facing each other, MFK Fisher, the great food writer, Cornel West, cultural critic, and more. Facing the World, Jacob Needleman, the philosopher. Looking Ahead, let's see, Jonas Salk, the medical researcher. And Looking Back, William Shire, and then looking within, Robert Bly. But there's a lot more. So I liked my first volume, and I've read this second volume, and glad to have it. Add to the philosophy shelves. Yeah, again here I'm struggling a little bit with the moving the books to the and once I talk about this one might have glare too. This is Mark Twain, an illustrated biography by Jeffrey C. Ward, Dayton Duncan, and Ken Burns. And you'll notice Ken Burns' name there because this was one of his documentaries, and this one's about Mark Twain. And he does these books with him. I have baseball, have the Civil War. I may have one or two others. Happy to have this. Big Mark Twain fan. These things are really beautifully illustrated, really nicely put together. I have not read this, and it's been a long time since I've seen the documentary. The drive to his house down in Hartford is one of Connecticut. It's what I've always wanted to make. We have quite a few people in town who have, and all of them told me they enjoyed it. So someday, that's on my bucket list. So the next one I was really excited to get. It's not, the dust jacket's not in the greatest condition, but that's all right. It's Arabia Felix by Thorkild Hansen. Very famous book. This is the first edition of the translation, American, yeah. when was that? 1964. Who was the publisher here? I probably looked right at it. It's not unusual with me. Yeah, Harper Row Publishers. Translated by James and Kathleen McFarlane. Let me see if I can show you. Oh. And it's his travels. This is wonderful. There's Yemen. And so quite a famous travel book. Where's this at? This is Niebuhr's sketch of the town of Thais. So I've heard about and read about this. There's our author. This book many times, so I will finally get to read it. I've read excerpts in other travel books. Moving on. Becoming a Poet. Elizabeth Bishop with Marion Moore and Robert Lowell by David Calstone. In this case, it's edited by Robert Hemingway with an afterword by the poet James Merrill. And the reason for that is that the author, Calstone, actually died after the first draft of this, I believe, or something close to that. And again, it's Elizabeth Bishop with Marion Moore and Robert Lowell. So it's the story of these poets and their generation. And never read it and looking forward to it. Then one I used to have, and I'm glad to get back. This is Cinderella and Company, Backstage at the Opera with Cecilia Bartoli by Manuela Holleroff. I'm a big fan. I have many of her compact discs. And this came out, Alfred A. Knopf in New York, 1998. I had this volume, and I have no idea where it went. So, big opera fan. So, glad to have it back. And, lots of nice photos. So, and there she is. Just what a voice. Just fantastic. This next one is to replace a paperback, which I will give to my daughter. And this is What Jane Austen Ate and Charles Dickens Knew. From fox hunting to whist, the facts of daily life in 19th century England by Daniel Poole. Just a fun, I've looked through it many times and read little snippets here and there. This is, let's see, Simon & Schuster out of New York, 1993. So Death and Other Grave Matters, How the English Kept Clean, Power in the Establishment. I'm just randomly doing this. Society, How to Address Your Betters. There you go. So next, let's see. This is one I've read but don't have a copy of. This has got to be a book club from the feel of it. Yes, it is. This is Nicholas and Alexandra, an intimate account of the last of the Romanovs and the fall of Imperial Russia by Robert K. Massey. His Peter the Great was wonderful, and this is really good too. But it is a book club edition, which is fine. So sad story. But there you are. This next one is fun. Well, let me should I do that? Yeah, I'll do this one now. This next one is fun. I've seen, I think, Sean D. Standfast, and I know I've seen Jason Harrigan do these, where the book, I believe I'm right, where the book is an award. Okay, you did well in class in some particular way, and they usually have a plate, and you get the book as, and this isn't in England. This one's the English Abbey, F.H. Crossley. It's Batsford publication. Nice end papers. It's actually a beautiful book, but it has this one of these prize plates. High Stores Grammar School for Girls, Sheffield. Prize awarded to Elizabeth Jocks for art, form, July 1957, and then it has a headmistress signature. I was really excited to find it because I've heard them talk about it. Here's the front of this. It actually looks like quite a book. Really heavily illustrated. Lots of drawings, line drawings, and right here on one side. In the back here, actually, so that I can do it without ripping it here. So it has this set in, then you just pop it out, and then you have a plan. It's very good shape. Nice little index on it. Here's another one of these. I'll pull it all the way out. Yeah. Really quite a beautiful thing. Very interesting. And with the prize plate in it, hey, I've got one now. I was sort of excited. This next one was really quite a find. It has a lot of foxing on it, unfortunately. This is The Taking of Helen by John Masefield. Little teeny thing, caught my eye, didn't have much chance to take a look at it. The Mylar needs to be replaced, but that's no big deal. A lot of foxing, but again, it's free, so I didn't really care too much. Paper feels really good. But this autograph edition of John Masefield's The Taking of Helen, in this case that's a Helen of Troy, is 750 copies have been printed, of which this is number 618, and it has John Masefield's signature. Right there. Very excited to find it. But like I say, a lot of really heavy foxing. But nice little addition to the library anyway. This next one is really interesting. Again, one I grabbed just because of the feel of it. This is Le Bon Docteur, and this is Franklin, The Toast of Paris. There's no dust jacket on this thing. I don't know if there ever was. My suspicion is possibly. And this is Private Printing, New York, 1970. This is a keepsake of the 17th book in the Printing Week Library of Benjamin Franklin Keepsakes. It is published in connection with the celebration of Printing Week in New York, 1970, commemorating the 264th birthday of Benjamin Franklin, printer, January 17th, 1970. It's a table of contents. Quite a beautiful little thing. Beautifully printed, obviously. And I'll sit down and take a good look through it soon. But like I say, a thin little thing, but quite fun. Then this one needs to have the dust jacket cleaned, but I can do that easily. This is Writers on Writing, Collected Essays from New York Times, introduction by John Darnton. And we have the requisite big names. Let me see. And this is Times Books, Henry Holt and Company, New York. What year was this? 2001. All right, so you have Russell Banks. I'm not going to read them all. Russell Banks, Carolyn Shute, E.L. Doctorow, Louise Erdrich, Thomas Fleming, Richard Ford, Carl Hyacin, Alice Hoffman, Jamaica Kincaid, Barbara Kingsolver, David Levitt, David Mamet, who lives in Vermont, by the way, part of the time, Walter Mosley, Joyce Carol Oates, Sarah Paretsky, Annie Proulx, who used to live in Vermont, James Salter, William Saroyan, Jane Smiley, Susan Sontag, Scott Turow, Kurt Vonnegut Jr., Alice Walker, Elie Wiesel. So that's just a few of the people in this. So that'll be fun. I just dip in and out of it. Then this nice little thing. This is American Book Company. It's Marlowe, Christopher Marlowe. I don't know if you can see. It is general editor is Felix Schelling. Masterpieces of the English Drama. There you go. This came out in 1912 and has Tamerlane the Great, part first, second, Tragical History of Dr. Faustus, The Jew of Malta, Edward II, notes and a glossary. Good size print, reasonable print, so happy to have that. Then the copy, actually just like the copy I read, this is Dr. Faustus, The Life of German Composer Adrian Leverkühn, as told by a friend, a novel by Thomas Mann. Right? It's a modern library edition. I love this book. I have not read it in many, many years. This came out in 1948. And H.T. Lowe Porter is the translator. So very happy with that. And speaking of something translated, the Library of America has just put Richard Wilbur's Moliere translations into the Library of America. So they're not, Moliere obviously is not American, but the translation was, and I thought that was sort of cool. So I saw this and I grabbed it. It's The Misanthrope and Tartuffe, or Tartuffe, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Richard Wilbur translated Moliere. And I'll give it a shot. I tried reading Moliere once a long time ago, and it didn't go well. So we'll see if it's better. I don't even remember what I read. That's how long ago it was. So when this is a Harvest edition, if I get my fingers to work here. Harcourt Braiths and Company, San Diego, New York, and London. So yeah, he's done quite a few other of these translations, but this one is originally copyrighted in 1965. I don't know when this particular edition came out. I'm sure they say it in here, but it's a very long credits copyright page. All right, then a little art. I've got a lot of these, so I always grab them when I see them. This is Cyril Aldred, the great Egyptian scholar of Egypt. And this is Egyptian art. And this is Timson Hudson. It has 199 illustrations, 20 in color. Quite nice. Quite nice to flip through. I have some of his other books and was glad to find this. These can be great fun. You'll learn a lot. Yeah. So that was nice. Then I got a run of Poetry Magazine. September 2006, one from 2008, a whole bunch of them 2012, and one from 2016. I'm just going to hold them all up together. This one on the 2016 is Australian poets. Next one features Mary Carr, Frederick Seidel, and Jane Hirschfield. The next one is Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Lou Reed's in this one. Clive James, Patricia Smith in this one. There's another translation issue. Another translation issue. I guess these are the only two that are. This one has Galway Canal in it, who I always like. So, hey, pile of them. And then a bunch of paperbacks for fun. And I'm going to go through these fairly quick. And these are covers I used to have on most of these. So the Alistair MacLean for sure. So this is sort of a nostalgia. It's not a buy. I didn't have to pay for them. But this is a Golden Rendezvous. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Sea Witch. The Black Shrike. Fear is the Key. These are all Alistair MacLean. Then the Ham and Dennis, who I love. Love his books. I have another copy of this. This one's for a friend of mine. This is The Land God Gave to Cain. Ham and Dennis. Then a copy of Alan Mandelbaum's Purgatorio. So I can go back and... I did read all of Inferno following along with Tom at LA Books, the channel. And now he has a wonderful obviously backlist. I'm going to go through and do Purgatorio and go through all those videos. So that's why I grabbed this. This is Thomas Hardy Selected Stories, and I mostly got this because it was chosen and introduced by the scholar John Wayne, who's also a novelist and a poet, I think, and did a biography of Johnson. So yeah. Then I got Penguin Classics copy of Joseph Conrad's The Secret Agent. So no way am I doing a Steve Pyramid or anything like that. But it was a really good day. I wanted to share it with you. And I hope everybody's doing well. And thank you, BookTube.